Watch out, this podcast may contain adult content. Hello and welcome to On the Case, an investigative television podcast where me and Casey, we talk about all the amazing things that are going to happen to our favorite characters in Game of Thrones ahead of the final season. I'm so excited for this. But before we get into that, today's show is brought to you by Altered Reality Entertainment, and they are the creators of Empire State Comic-Con. You can check out that convention at escomiccon.com. They've got celebrities, artists, vendors, cosplayers, all kinds of fun happening in New York this April. Please check it out. But I forgot to tell you who I am. I'm Elijah. You can call me Eli. I'm looking at Casey. I'm trying to make him laugh. That's what I'm trying to do. Because Casey, I need you to tell us about Brienne of Tarth.
Today's episode's about Brienne of Tarth, Brienne the Beauty, an amazing warrior, a noble sort of knight, not official knight, but should be, and has been the protector of many important characters, including Sansa and Renly, and she's just an amazing character. One of my favorites for sure. Completely breaks the mold of what females are capable of doing in this universe, where it's so male-dominated and everyone's just has to fill these very specific roles. She denies them all and becomes her own person and wins her way into our hearts, one sword swing and badass sentence at a time.
Wow. What a you've been thinking about Brienne for a while, I can see.
Don't tell her, I'm embarrassed.
Okay. do that Cersei thing, like at the wedding, like when it's Joffrey and her, and she's like, "You love my brother." She's like, "Oh, what?" And she's like,
we don't talk about that.
And just walks away.
Cut it.
Okay, so Brienne's amazing. We love her. We first were introduced to her, and she seemed like a very minor character. Mm-hmm. So if you hadn't read the books, there was no way for you to know like how important she was going to be to the show. I'd say that she's not at the A level of characters like Jon and Dany, but she's definitely that next level down, I would probably say.
Yeah, the companions that matter, the ones that are there to either be the muscle and also some comedic relief and also the moral compass.
Yeah, and I still think that she can shape and change the show.
Absolutely.
Whereas like characters like even like I still feel like even Bronn is a level lower than her, even though that he's a comedic relief kind of thing and he's connected to a lot of people. Brienne has just so much more like clout or like respect in the kingdom almost. So like even not even from us as like fans, like she's a B-level character versus the A-level characters or whatever. I just think that she's like just so much more connected to the actual world.
Well, and she has impacted the story. I mean, saving Sansa. If Sansa had never made it to the Wall, we're looking at a different world. She's back with Ramsay. Yeah. Ramsay's still alive. Jon's still up in the north. I mean, big differences without her. And I think she had a really great character introduction because you see this like awesome fighter beating the shit out of the Knight of Flowers, and the first season you see that the Knight of Flowers is a really great warrior, Loras Tyrell, and he beats the mountain in jousting. He tricks him, but and he had beaten Jaime at jousting before. They talk about all kinds of stuff like that, and then you see this person beat them very well, and they take their helmet off, and it's not some big hulking dude. It's this amazing female who can fight like that, and it's sort of embarrassing for a reason, and she wants to be part of the Kingsguard, and it's very different than a lot of the characters we've seen introductions for.
And so you say very different than a lot of the characters, and I think there is one way that she is the same. And as we've been doing this podcast, you've made me realize that the show, everyone it's about this the plot points, the big plot twist, the death of the characters, the no one's safe kind of stuff. Like that's surely what the show's about. It's definitely about fighting for the throne, the visuals, the spectacle. But they call it Game of Thrones. I think they should call the show Game of Growth, because every character we've seen has grown from like Arya's like journey is crazy, Brienne's journey is crazy. We talked about Jaime already, but every character besides Cersei has like completely had a metamorphosis from who they were to what they are now. And I know that Cersei had kind of, she had the stuff where she had to do the walk of shame and all that, but she still came out the other side a piece of garbage. Whereas Brienne, I think, has had, to me, the most, like, it's not maybe the most difficult journey or the most, like, transformative. Like, Daenerys probably transformed more, Arya probably transforms more, but I just have enjoyed the ride the most with her, I think. Just every scene with her I've appreciated. I've always just really been like, she first starts off so honorable and like turning her nose up at things, and not in a she's like richer than everyone way, but like in a like, oh, I would never do that. Exactly. I'm pure. I'm good. We wouldn't do it that way.
I honestly feel like her growth isn't really a character growth. Like, it's different. It's just like a
worldview
growth.
Yeah, worldview growth.
Because she's been like this knight that's like questing across. Like, she's been all over the damn place. She's been to the Vale. She's been to King's Landing. She's been to the deep, deep north. She's been to the Wall. She's been to the Riverlands. And every time there's like something that's really important that someone needs to do, like protect the girls or protect Catelyn Stark or go, get Brendan Tully to bring the Tully forces back up. She's always sent on these really impossibly difficult quests. Even in the Vale, she's trying to find Arya, and she has to fight the Hound. And I mean, it definitely hasn't been an easy thing, but I think she's more of like a Davos type character where she is who she is now as she was then. She has not changed, even though circumstances would have been a lot easier for her if she would have just like been a little bit less stubborn in her ethical, ways. But and same with Jon. Jon's changed a lot. But he's still, Jon. He still will make the hard decision, even if it makes his life harder.
When you're saying that, actually, you just made me realize. I think Brienne's the person who, through her journey and her changing, she has been most influenced by the world and the other people around her. Whereas, like, Jon, he's grown in ways, but just not in the same way where like, he's really taking in the outside ideas. Because, like, Brienne's really absorbing. She's like the sponge of the show, and she's absorbing these new worldviews, these new ways of thinking. And, if she had just cast Jaime aside, because like she starts off hating Jaime and seeing him as human garbage, and now you would say that she probably loves him more than anyone.
Yeah, I think that people play the Game of Thrones differently. I think what she's really learned is to not be so naive. I think she saw the world very black and white, and her journey has shown her that someone like the Hound might be a terrible guy in one respect, but also he earns her respect in a way, and she earns his respect in a way.
Through battle, through combat. Yeah, that's awesome.
And protecting Arya, the fact that, they can...
That shared bond of,
of being the protectors of those girls in different ways. She would look at someone like that and scoff and say, you're not a real knight because you drink and you cuss and you're not noble and you fight dirty or whatever. Someone like Bronn fights dirty, but he gets the job done, where she would never fight like that. I think she's seen things that make her understand the world better, so she can be a better counselor to someone like Sansa than she could have in season 2 to Renly. Yeah, definitely.
I think it's really clear that we both like really love her.
Yes.
I think this is one of the few. It's one of the few Game of Thrones characters we recently talked about. Davos is like, I don't care who you are watching the show. Like, how can you not like or root for this person? She starts off in a place, where she's, not, like I said, not high and mighty, but like has a very specific code of honor kind of thing.
She's lived in a small world.
And like the last, I think, line that she says is like, oh, F your oath. Like, she's like, F that. Like, and she's just like, this isn't about oaths. Go talk to the queen. And you're like, Brienne, I can't believe you said that.
Yeah, she's like, you know what? The stuff I thought was the end all be all of existence. All these things you read about in these books about how the way the world should be isn't how the world actually fucking is. So if Brienne's gonna be helpful beyond just muscle, she has to understand that, and she knows that better than almost anyone by the end of the series, I think, or by where we are in the series so far, and that makes her just that much more helpful on whatever side she is, which obviously is the good guys.
Yes.
So.
Well, fingers crossed that she just stays on.
Oh, she'll always be on the good guys. she can tell who the good guys are.
Okay, so I brought up the Dragon Pit earlier, but that's where we last saw her, representing Sansa's interests, the interests of the Warden of the North, or the Lady of Winterfell, at the Dragon Pit, just in the best like mix up salad of our characters that we've had yet.
So crazy.
So much drama.
Just walking over to the Dragon Pit, you see so many weird reunions. You see Bronn and Podrick, Bronn and Tyrion. Podrick is with Brienne at the time, and then Brienne meets the Hound. They talk about Arya. It's just so many great character moments. But the fact that she's there just shows A, how important she is, and B,
she's a major player now.
She's someone that a major player. Sansa's really the major player. She's just like the person standing in for her, which means that she trusts her a lot. And from Sansa didn't trust her for shit when they first met.
Yeah, and
she was like, no, I trust Littlefinger more. So obviously, Sansa had some learning to do there too.
That's it. I trust Littlefinger more.
Brienne had been around. She's like, how the fuck are you gonna trust Littlefinger over me?
They're that one. They meet. I can't remember. It's like a bar or whatever.
No, it's the inn.
The
inn.
Crossroads. The Crossroads. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, please
don't do that
come with me. And she's like, I already failed once. Yeah. Why are these girls so obstinate? I was there with your mom. They're like, well, then you didn't do a good job protecting anybody. You're like, fuck.
Okay,
it kind of got me there.
Well, now I want to move into best and worst moments, but that's got to be one of the worst moments. And maybe kind of the Achilles heel, I would say, of Brienne is her ability to talk. Because she's a great doer. When she's acting, when she's doing things, perfect. Yeah. But when she has to use her words to win her battles, God, does she lose?
Yeah.
Cersei wipes the floor with her.
She just doesn't. She doesn't play the Game of Thrones that way.
When Jaime's like, "Yo, I'm gonna send a baby over a cat, over the battlements with this catapult," she's just like, "Woo!"
Wow, that sucks.
Yeah,
I kind of liked you before that
sentence.
Just
like tough one.
Yeah, I mean, I think she brings out the best in people, but yeah, what her worst moments have got to be her failures. Her having to watch Renly, the man who she, unknowing that he's gay, was in love with at the time, wasn't just trying to do the noble thing and protect the king she thought was most worthy of being king and would be a great ruler, which I don't think she was wrong about, but also the man she loved at the time, and someone who was befriended her when no one else would and treated her like the person she wanted to be treated like. Having to watch him die and there's nothing she could do about it, and then being blamed and having to slice down other guys just to cut her way out of that situation, that was one of the most heart-wrenching moments if you love that character. And when you go back and watch it again, knowing everything she goes through afterwards, just knowing that her whole world came crashing down in a matter of seconds, and everything she thought just wasn't there to protect her, all her nobility, all of her ethics. A ghost killed, a shadow monster killed a guy.
And everyone thinks she's crazy too, and that she did it, which is...
She's an easy target to blame because she was alone with him, and...
She was there,
all they would say is, oh yeah, you probably, tried to have sex with him, and he said no, and you killed him or something. They could have come up with all kinds of stories, and they weren't going to trust Kat either because she was there, and she's kind of from another war camp. So it was a bad situation. I think that was definitely one of the worst.
I think it's a testament to Brienne's bravery that she wears her failures. She doesn't run from them. She those failures are up front, and that's, we kind of said maybe that's a flaw, maybe that's a worst moment that she has these failures that she reflects on. But I think that she is brave in the way that she wears the failures, and she's like, hey guys, this is.
I agree.
Yeah, she doesn't run from it or hide them.
I always say that failures are only truly failures if we don't learn from them, and she learns
every
single one
incredibly.
Of them.
So I would definitely say that her worst moments is just choosing her lovers, because she does not have a good track record of dudes that
The bear's pretty rough. She almost gets killed by a bear, and that, I think. That one, it's almost one of Jaime's best moments is when she's almost about to be horrifically sexually attacked by these men after she and Jaime are captured by Locke, by the Bolton's men on their way to Harrenhal, and he saves her by making up this whole story about the Sapphire Isles. But watching that again, it's just as heart-wrenching as the first time. It's a horrible, scary moment where she's again powerless to the forces against her, which she's not used to because she's a very powerful character.
So Game of Thrones does this thing where they pair two characters together that you wouldn't expect together, whether it's Tywin and Arya, the Hound and Arya, or just Brienne and Pod or Brienne and Jaime. And there's basically hey, there's these two characters and they're going on a road trip and they're gonna have fun somewhere. And they're going. These two people are going from place to place. Tyrion and Jorah. That's my favorite thing that Game of Thrones does. They do two people pairings. I think better than any show.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, Brienne, Jaime, because I want to talk about Brienne's best moments. I think all of Brienne's best moments come in the Brienne Jaime pairing. I really, really, really love that.
You learn a lot about her and him, and that's another time where it's this perfect type person with Brienne who's so noble and so morally sound that she's unwavering in her beliefs, and you see Jaime who's so different from her, and at first she hates him, and then she learns from him a lot about the world, this gray area that so much of Game of Thrones explores, and it's beautiful watching her have, especially the bath moment where she hears him talk about what really happened when he had to kill the Mad King, and she's also protecting this person who she hates, which is sort of this weird, no pun intended, but double-edged sword of I hate this person, but if you try and kill him, I will lay down my life, and it's really because she's trying to make good for Kat, she's in the service of at the time.
So I've got two more top moments of mine personally. I don't know if you have any other ones, but
I've got one.
Okay. So getting Oathbreaker from Jaime.
Oh,
that's
beautiful.
gotta be a top moment. She gets that like black armor, like that's dope. But
it's like
she gets
it's like a dark blue. It almost looks like sapphire.
Or sorry, not Oathbreaker, Oathkeeper. My bad. Yeah,
Oathbreaker.
I got Kingdom Hearts on the mind.
Okay. That's a great moment,
Yeah.
and she gets caught at the same time, and she's like officially a knight.
Yeah, having that Valyrian steel sword, I think, is going to be very important to the end game. The other top moment that I wanted to bring up was that battle with her and Arya at Winterfell. I just love that moment.
That's
because
cool.
Because Brienne's just like it's like a fly like kind of buzzing around you, and you're just kind of like swatting it away. She's swatting Arya away, and then Arya's like, nah, dog, I'm for real.
I'm playing with
and then
you.
and then like that moment where like the blade's at her neck, and then like she's pointing at her, and they're both just like,
yeah. I think that was
bros.
great. I mean, because those are two characters that have a lot in common, and I think she's never seen a girl who, like her, completely dismisses all of the gender stereotypes and becomes her own person and wants to be a badass.
But does it in her own way too.
Yeah,
she does not fight in the same way. Yeah,
no, because she can't swing a broadsword. She's tiny, but she's lethal.
She's water dancing.
My favorite Brienne moment, at least off the top of my head, is got to be her fight with the Hound.
Okay.
I mean, she beats the shit out of someone, and she doesn't do it nobly. That's another moment.
She bites his effing ear.
She bites his fucking ears. She kicks him in the balls. She fights him.
Incredible fight.
It's amazing. I mean, like they are like he's like gouging her eyes. He's like they are fucking like out for blood, and it's over Arya. It's like, why is he fighting so fucking hard? And it's because with that moment, with her getting Oathkeeper, he doesn't trust her because he's like, I've seen Lannister steal
all my whole life. Yeah,
I know that's
Lannister
gold. And he's like, who sent you? And she's like, fuck, this is gonna sound really bad, but Jamie Lannister sent me here. He's like, fuck this bitch.
Pulling her collars.
Yeah, he's different now, you guys. I know he pushed your brother out a window and stuff, but
he's a cool guy.
He's changed so much. I can change him. It's like that girl thing. Like I can change him and make him a good person. But that fight with the Hound is so amazing. It's one of the best fights in the series.
Yeah,
like 1v1. Have we ever seen a fight that, like, just jaw-dropping? And the way it works and the way that they're so powerful and they fight similar but not the same, and it's just brute strength versus brute strength, will versus will, and we love both those characters. So it's also one of those moments where we're like, I don't want either of them to get fucked up. And luckily we get them both back, but it's crazy.
And I think Game of Thrones is the only TV show that does this like this, because so often, and because it's so massive and sprawling, we get to spend time and care about everyone. So like maybe, in Daredevil, we care about Kingpin because the show has the time to do that. Yeah. But never in a show has there been this like, they are the villains, they are the heroes, but like, they're kind of like both sides, but then they clash. Yeah. So like in the Field of Fire, or when they're taking the loot, you're like, oh no, Bronn! Yeah, I want Bronn to win, but like you're like, oh no, don't hit the dragon or kill Daenerys, and so like you're Jaime's on the side and Tyrion, and they're all fighting. But just like you said, like in that Hound Brienne fight, you don't want anything bad to happen to either of them. No. But it's so intense. Every swing, every hit, every kick, every punch, fall, every the blood,
bite.
Everything.
It's brutal. And I mean, like at one point he gets the upper hand and he's kicking her in the stomach, and she's letting out these horrible sounds.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, dude, he's beating the shit out of a woman, but you're like, but she's not like a woman in the traditional sense. She's Brienne. She's like, it's her own thing. Yeah. And watching her do that, you're like, yeah, I get that, and I kind of hate the Hound right now, but also, he's fighting to protect Arya, and she's fighting to protect Arya and uphold her hope.
Yeah, so oath. I don't think any other show has had people on both sides of battles that you are rooting for or rooting against
not that
in the same way.
No. I mean, even Star Wars, like you don't care that much about the bad guy. You might know where he's coming from, and the best, villains think they're the heroes to a degree, but like to care that much where you're like, I'd be devastated to lose either of these people right now is a completely unique feeling to this show.
And the show makes us, Brienne wins this battle.
Yeah.
So that's probably, I'd say, one of the best moments.
She beats someone that literally we've never seen lose before.
Yeah, and maybe that...
We've seen him beat 10 men.
And, let's talk now about happy endings and sad endings. Yeah. I want to go happy first.
Okay.
But I think Brienne's happy ending is whoever's on the throne, that she's one of the 7, she's one of their Kingsguard, and like you just made me think of it, like writing in the book, messed up the Hound. Like it's going on the pages.
All her great deeds.
Yeah, like she wrecked the Hound.
She's gonna have a lot of pages.
She saved Sansa from the Boltons, and she killed those dudes in the just.
So many great deeds. Yeah, I mean, that'd be great. I'd love to see her be like the knight of all knights.
Yeah, that's my happy ending. If
like
she's
Sir Arthur Dane or Gerald Hightower.
What if she's the commander of the Kingsguard?
She could be. She could be. I mean, I think because we've talked about in our Jaime episode that I really like their pairing, and I really do think that if he dies in a great way, it'll be because he's finally like in the arms of the one he loves.
Yeah.
And if it's her, then the only romance that makes sense for her really is that one. I know the Tormund thing's kind of funny, but like that's the only romance that really makes sense for her. So if Jaime does die in an epic way like that, I think she would be perfect to be like the Barristan Selmy of like the new Kingsguard, like the person that is like beloved and praised by all for being noble.
You think that's
and
the happiest ending for her to take that?
Yeah,
that seat.
Yeah, because I don't think her ending as like a part of a pair works
Makes
for
sense.
Her character because she breaks so many molds as far as what it means to be a woman. So I'd like to see that better.
Well, Casey, I'm gonna get on the case. I'm gonna get on you here with the most ridiculous happy ending. So in this scenario, Lyanna Mormont, she dies, and but Tormund and Brienne, they both make it out, and then Jon's just like, you know what? I'm gonna give you guys Bear Island. I know you got things for bears. So Tormund and Brienne, they go out to Bear Island. But Tormund in his old age, he isn't as good as giving Brienne what she needs in the bedroom. But the Squire Pod is still there. He doesn't get knighted, unfortunately. He's still her squire. And then Brienne and Pod start having an affair on Bear Island. And they populate it with many, many, many Briennes.
Jesus. That is ludicrous on so many counts.
Not a happy ending.
You think the only way, like a woman who's totally like adverse to sexuality, that her happy ending is getting the tripod?
Yeah.
No thanks. No thanks.
I'm just kidding. We both know what the happy ending is. It's her being the leader of the Kingsguard. It has to be. I think there's no other.
Having her skills as a swordsman and as a moral compass being truly to like the nth degree like appreciated.
This is interesting. We never got to this in the Davos episode or the Red Woman episode, but what if the Red Woman had to stand trial for the murder of Renly? Isn't that a really like what if the final scene of the show, or maybe one of the like, you know, because they're gonna have like the Hobbit endings, so they'll probably have like 6 different endings or whatever. Return of the King endings.
Yeah.
So what if one of the endings is that like it's the new council, the new, like, you know, everyone's like, you know, you say like there's this democratic leadership of all the different like lands or the kingdoms of whatever. But let's say one of the first things that happens is Red Woman stands trial. Yeah, and like that's one of their things that they're doing to heal the nation or to establish like this is new justice kind of thing.
I would argue that her Renly like recompense already happened when she got to kill Stannis. That's actually a top moment too. I just thought of that. She finally gets vengeance for what happened to her beloved Renly by killing Stannis. Like, what are the odds of Stannis with his, like, 500 men, because it was very depleted, against, like, 10,000, and he gets away in the woods just long enough for her to be the one to cut his fucking head off, or whatever she does, because it's off camera.
So, actually, maybe she already got her happy ending.
I think she kind of did.
Yeah, everything now is just like, she already won the game. Now this is all New Game Plus, and she's just like, cool, I didn't expect to make it this far.
And she was a part of, like, the Red Woman was part of killing Renly, but she was, I think if she's going to stand trial for anyone, it should be Shireen. Okay. Because Shireen hasn't gotten her vengeance yet from beyond the grave. No one stood up for her yet.
Standing trial. Okay, so now let's go into the saddest ending for Brienne.
Oh, man. Another failure to protect someone would be really devastating. I think if she lost one of the Stark girls to the Whites or something, like her brute strength, just she couldn't stand her ground against whatever was up against her, whether it was like 30
you know, it'd
Whites.
Be terrible.
She gets surrounded.
It's like Jaime on the left hand and like Arya on the right hand, and she can only save one of them. That's terrible.
And she has to leave, or she gets like literally, she does like what Summer did, and like she goes like, "You guys go," and she like gets swarmed. That would be so hard to watch.
So I know what the real sad ending is. She just so that scenario happens. Like whatever thing needs to happen or go down for her to die and become a White is the thing that happens, and then she kills Jaime with
Jaime stands his ground.
Jaime's just like doing like giving orders. He's like, "You guys retreat, you do this," and then you just see Brienne's hand like come around and grab his neck and then stab him in the back just like he stabbed
the Ares. Oh damn. Yeah. She Kingslayed the Kingslayer.
Yes. And then her eyes are just all like blue or whatever.
Super blue.
She's just like
I don't know. Having to fight like a a White Walker giant sounds scary, but finding a White Walker Brienne is
is
also
rough.
pretty terrifying.
No, and I do think we're gonna get at least one character that we like, maybe Hodor or some. I think we're gonna like someone's gonna see a version of someone who we already know as a white, and that's gonna like petrify them, and that's gonna be the thing that kills them.
The only thing we have that way right now is the dragon, which is terrifying in a crazy sci-fi way, like a fantasy way. But yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that happening as long as it's not Ghost. Leave Ghost alone.
Yeah.
I love Ghost, and also the name Ghost becoming a White Walker direwolf. It's too on the nose.
Okay,
leave me alone.
Okay. All right, so I think we both kind of established this, that I don't think Brienne's going to have a sad ending. And so I don't, and that kind of leads into the next thing. Will she die? I don't think either of us believe there's any world where Brienne is killed, right?
Maybe.
Like
in a noble way.
Like her odds, she has to.
She's got
She's got too much plot armor.
She's a really good fighter.
Yeah,
she doesn't have a lot of weaknesses.
She's got actual armor. She's got plot armor. She's got a lot of.
George R. R. Martin's been quoted as saying like that the end of this story will be a bittersweet ending. So maybe it's not a sad or happy ending. Maybe it's a bittersweet ending. Maybe she loses. Jaime gets to be on the King's Guard, but she spends her days remembering.
But you don't think she's gonna die?
If I had to bet, I'd say no.
Yeah, I'm like at 95% she lives. Like that's, I know that's kind of high, but
I'd go 85 because if they give her a beautiful death, that's what a warrior dreams about. Going out. No one wants to. A warrior doesn't want to live to old age and have their bedpans changed. She wants to go out like a badass.
Like Barristan, man. Even Barristan got to go out. I mean, even though they got played by these gold guys in masks, at least he got to go out fighting.
And he saved Grey Worm, and he defended himself really well, especially for his age. I mean, he cut those dudes down like nothing.
Barristan's
awesome.
Dope.
He's awesome.
What a good name.
Barristan
Selmy.
Sir Barristan the Bold.
Here comes Selmy. No.
Beautiful. Beautiful swordsman. Yeah. I wish I could have seen him in his prime.
he's like running around. Sell me slice. Sell me dice.
Come on. He's not a fucking Smash Brothers character.
Dragon Ball Z, son.
Okay.
Dragon Ball Z.
Whatever.
Destructo Discin people. Okay.
That's
all right. Last thing. Brienne. Is she Azor Ahai?
No,
I
I don't
think there's
think
not a chance. I don't think so either.
Yeah, and it's not because of her gender or anything. It's just her lineage and where she's come
they don't
from.
got salt and smoke on the Sapphire Isles.
No salt and smoke. Well, they've got plenty of that. I mean, it's just...
I was just saying.
I think her trajectory is different.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
It wouldn't
She's
make
a protector of people, but not necessarily a
the
savior
Messiah.
of the world.
Yeah, the Messiah. Yeah. Okay. Any other theories on Brienne?
No, I think we covered it all. I really love Brienne. I love where she's come from. I want to see a full circle redemption for every failure she's ever had, because the people she has to save going forward in the end game will mean more than the people she's lost. So
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Well, then that brings us to the end of this episode of On the Case, a Game of Thrones investigative television podcast.
Who we got next time?
I think we're gonna do
Grey
Worm.
Grey
Worm. I'm into that. I'm very into that.
Yes.
As always, this show is brought to you by Altered Reality Entertainment. They make conventions like Epic Comic-Con. That's happening in Atlantic City this summer. Go check it out. That's a casino. You can play slots, hang out with Lou Ferrigno. Yeah. High five the Hulk, and then get your money taken at the roulette table. Yeah. That's what you can do.
Or win, because that's an option.
And winning is an option too.
We're in the Game of Thrones mindset. Everything's a loss.
I'm just saying, I'm terrible. Every time I've gambled, I've lost all kinds of money. But go check it out, guys. EpicComicCon.com. You can see the full guest list. Thank you so much for listening to On the Case, Game of Thrones.
See you next time.
Yeah, we'll be back. Bye.
Bye.